Well, okay, let's talk about Bitcoin for corporations, because you were the first CEO of a publicly listed company that put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Was it a winning strategy?
Yeah, it's worked out really, really well for us. Since we started, our enterprise market value has gone from about $600 million to more than $6 billion. So we've 10x the enterprise value of the company. If we trace our performance back to August of 2020 when we adopted a Bitcoin strategy, Bitcoin's been the #1 performing asset of all the possible Treasury assets. If you contrast it to the S&P index or NASDAQ or gold or silver or bonds, you couldn't have done better than to have selected Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy's stock has actually outperformed Bitcoin as of just a few days ago. So I think Bitcoin was up like 140%, and MicroStrategy's up a bit more than that. So I would say it's definitely been a winning Treasury strategy. And maybe more to the point, our choice was we either sit in sovereign debt. We could have held a bunch of Treasury bonds, and they were yielding 1%, 2%, 0% for a while. Right now, the 30-year Treasury bond is yielding 3.6%. We could have done that, but of course, that's not really compelling for public company investors. Nobody wants to invest in a company that's holding tons of cash or tons of Treasury bonds, because from their point of view, cash is never going to outperform the S&P index, at least they don't expect it to. And they could own Treasury bonds themselves. So by us adopting Bitcoin, we were able to tap into an asset which has been appreciating it in excess of 50% for the past 3 years. And 50% is better than 3%. But we also were able to plug our balance sheet into the crypto economy. And because we plugged into Bitcoin, that meant that MicroStrategy as a stock serves as an institutional on-ramp for other investors. And if you're a hedge fund or you're an investor and you have billions of dollars and you have a mandate to invest in securities, you can't buy Bitcoin even if you wanted to. You may not be able to per your mandate, and if you wanted to, it might take you 6 months to a year to set up the account. And then it's you're investing in a commodity. And as you know, if I bought a commodity on a crypto exchange, it would be challenging for me to figure out what the custody situation is. And I can't borrow money to buy it, and I can't borrow against it so easily. So if you're an institutional investor and you wanted Bitcoin exposure, you could buy our stock. You could buy it on the NASDAQ through your broker-dealer. You can borrow against it. You can borrow to buy it. It's a security, not a commodity. And so what would be a 12-month, very, very difficult process and very expensive process becomes maybe a 12-minute or even a 120-second process. So it turned out that it worked out really well for us as a company, but also it created a compelling opportunity for all of our investors, and it made us unique in the public company sphere. So yeah, been a big success.
Well, given that there are a lot of regulatory developments and there's soon going to be more accounting changes happening that will probably make it easier for companies to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet, what's the landscape that you see? Because we're here with a lot of big brand name corporations people have heard of. What will it take for them to put Bitcoin on their balance sheets?
I think the big milestones for other big public companies to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet will be FASB's adoption of fair value accounting, and we're expecting something definitive there toward the end of this year. That'll be big because that means when, if you have 100 million in Bitcoin and it trades up 50%, then you'll book a $50 million investment gain. And if it trades down, you'll have investment loss. But it will simplify the accounting, clarify the accounting, and allow you to reap investment gains as well as investment losses. And so that'll be a big deal. I think that right now the SEC has an initiative to bring crypto exchanges into regulatory compliance. And I think as those exchanges start to register with the SEC, that'll be a big deal and a big milestone forward. I think that that'll open up the path and the door for Bitcoin spot ETFs, and that'll be a big deal. And I think as we see more guidance coming from the FDIC and the Treasury on how banks can custody Bitcoin, I think that'll be a big deal. So I think those milestones are all ahead of us, but I think we can expect them all to come in time, and the writing is on the wall. So as each of those takes place, then I think you'll see more and more corporations adopting Bitcoin as a treasury asset.